Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
Councilor Cook? Here. Councilor Janik?
Present.
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor DiMederos?
Here.
Councilor Burke?
Present.
Councilor Vieira?
Here.
Councilor Perry is absent.
And he did call me. Consent agenda, approval of town council minutes, August 10th, 2021, regular session. Councilor Burke abstains, absent. Acknowledge receipt of minutes from the boards, commissions, and committees. Harbor Commission, 8. Acknowledge receipt of reports from Treasurer Surratt, July 2021 budget and revenue reports. Acknowledge receipt of correspondence, Town Administrator, minutes outstanding as of August 16th, 2021. Approval of tax assessors abatements, $7,157.98. Would any council like to pull anything off the consent agenda?
I'd like to pull off E, the abatements.
And I'd like to pull B, and I can ask, I've had something for C, but I can call Denise separately on that.
So B, Mike?
And D.
Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion to approve 4A and 4C.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I with my abstention on A.
Yeah, that's right, it says it. Unanimous. 4B, Councilor Burke, acknowledge receipt of minutes from boards, commissions, and committees. Harbor Commission, 8.
So, actually, I
Kinda
can
goes
probably, Jay, can I just have that one for this item from my packet? Because I do have notes. No, I need the one that I loaned to Jay, so it's 4B. 4B.
It's the big heavy one.
So, just very concerned, we talked, I know it was discussed, I think at the last meeting that I missed, plus a different meeting, that the harbor management plan has been on the commission's agenda almost every meeting that they held since at least last June 1st. But in each of those, it's generally no action taken or discussed, but no clear direction being provided. The last one that I found in the packet given to us was June 7th, and they talked about a private Zoom account. We talked about how important that is. I really believe we need to encourage them to move forward as quickly as possible with that process and finishing it within, I would say, by mid-October at the latest.
This has been a concern of many councilors. One of the plans we have is Chris and I, the two Harbor Commission liaisons, Bill and Donna, and Bruce Cox will be having a meeting, and this is one of the things we will be discussing. Also, open meeting laws and agendas need to be posted quicker than they're being posted right now, or not agendas, minutes. Chris, do you have anything else?
So I'll set that meeting up. I'm not so sure the harbor management plan can be completed by October. There's a lot to it. It's a very extensive document.
I understand that.
But at least
I
there
understand
needs to
that.
be some progress, and we need to see some progress, especially with everything that's going on right now with,
We'll find out exactly why that has not been obtained.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? I'd like to entertain a motion to approve 4B.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Burke, second by Councilor Edwards. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. 4D, that would be
Me.
Mike.
Thank you, Madam President. Just two quick things here. I appreciate, Chris, you putting out the memo on that, reminding folks that it needs to happen and needs to happen soon, and then be consistently put in place for each of the commissions and committees. And Donna, I know you and I don't always agree, but I really appreciate how you do your homework, and in this case, you really did your homework really well, and I appreciate that very much, so I want to thank you.
Thank
I
you.
agree, Donna. It was
Thank
good
you.
work.
That's all.
Any further discussion? Like to entertain a motion to approve 4D.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion been made by Counselor Burke, second by Counselor Janik. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. 4E, Counselor Janik.
So it's just really a comment. One of the abatements that was made was because we had a veteran who had an exemption, and for some reason, that exemption was removed from his account. And it's just a reminder to people in the community that you can get an exemption as a veteran, and that you should pursue that. We've had some veterans who've kind of asked for it, but you really need to be able to pursue that.
May I add to that?
Sure.
Even though what Deb is saying is very current, also I noticed that, because I did have someone call me, they had lost their husband, and I didn't know they had a hardship application. They said that they were given an application. What that application was, I wasn't sure. I said, if they gave it to you, make it out. So there was a hardship application. That's also possible to get that if you lose your spouse in general.
Any further discussion?
Yeah. We get a lot of these, and normally, they're not a lot of money until you look at the bottom one.
Yep.
$6,552. So we have Dave Robert in the stands. We ask him to tell
He's
us
coming.
what went wrong. I've already talked to him, so I know what went wrong.
Oh,
Yes, you
Why
have.
don't
already
you
talked
share it
about
with
I would
us?
like to share it with everyone. Again, it's just a very unfortunate mistake that was made. This particular parcel had been part of the farm program years ago. It got removed from the farm program. They voluntarily withdrew it from the farm program. So their assessment increased back in 17, and then we did a revaluation in 17, and so 18, 19, and 20, their assessment was $183,100. When the data conversion took place between Vision and Northeast, all of the acreage got put into prime site instead of prime and excess. So we have one buildable site, which is considered the prime. Everything outside of what we typically call 1 acre is excess. So it has much lower value on an acreage basis. So that's just simply all it was they listed everything as prime instead of including in excess. So the assessment went from 183 to 683, substantial jump, so that's why we're making the difference. And the proper assessment at this point is 224, which makes much more sense when you look at the prior assessments.
okay. Any questions from the council? This is why people need to look at their assessment really carefully. And
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things when, outside of the double notice of the assessments, they were notified that this was their value, but they didn't contact anyone on this one. But I do want to kind of double back about the exemptions as well. It is on our website, and I do plan on bringing to the council sometime probably in November, a review of our current exemptions and possibly updating them.
I also, Chris has mentioned you want to come to the council to explain the whole evaluation process this year, and
Yeah, you're probably aware that last week I had a presentation at Country View, a unique little community there, so I thought it was important to go to them. But at some point, I am going to be bringing to the council a variation of that because it doesn't apply town-wide. But I will be reviewing the revaluation, lessons learned and how we're going to be improving the process moving forward, with also a possibility of doing more frequent updates.
I was thinking maybe October meeting, because September we're pretty crowded, so somewhat like the 1st or 2nd in October, if you want to do it
Sure.
then.
Yep.
And just let us know, and we'll put it on the agenda.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay? Any questions?
I just have a question. So if someone has like a veteran exemption, when they get their tax bill, does it say it anywhere on their
It
bill?
does. It's required that we list the exemptions on the back of the bill, so all of the exemptions are on the back. Since we mail out real estate intangible is one bill, motor vehicles is another, so all of our exemptions aren't applicable to motor vehicles, so the ones just strictly for motor vehicles is on that bill, and all the rest are on the real estate,
So did
including the hardship exemption.
so like this particular gentleman would have seen that exemption was no longer on, the veteran exemption was missing when his bill was mailed out?
Correct.
Okay.
So he would have noticed, in that particular case, his mailing address changed to out of state, so we assumed he was no longer here.
So people should really check those then.
Right.
And so once they get a veteran's exemption, that just stays because
That
they've
stays.
been a veteran.
Correct. The only thing is they do have to be a resident, so if they do move out, it does get removed. But yeah, it's a one-time application. The only application that is an annual application is the senior low income. Every year they have to provide their income.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any further discussion? I'd entertain a motion to approve 4E.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Dave.
Sure,
Do I have
thank
a
you.
second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Edwards, second by Counselor Burke. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. 5A, comments received. Annabella Camps, 912 Bogomash. Formal request to Town Council to send notice to State Traffic Commission to lower speed limit on State 177 from 40 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour, and to put sidewalks on south and north side of road. Is Annabelle here? No. Okay, so this was on an agenda a couple of months ago, and we forwarded it to the police chief. Patrick is here. Patrick is here. Thank you, Patrick. Good evening. We have spoke several times on this matter. Now, Mrs. Camp has never called you?
We've never spoken.
Okay, and we advised her to also call you. So, this is a state road, so what do you think we should be doing about this?
So, as we all know, it's the state road, so it's controlled by the State Traffic Commission. So my suggestion would be to have, forgive me, I forget her last name.
Mrs. Camps.
Ms. Camps petition the State Traffic Commission, and what they'll do is the State Traffic Commission will engage in a study. So the 40-mile-an-hour area, and I want to be specific in reading her backup, that where this is, there's multiple traffic control devices that are already present on that roadway, which is the ultimate speed control device.
Which is the stoplights.
Correct. So, and I know she also mentioned sidewalks for safety. So to have the State Traffic Commission look at this, they will reach out to us and we'll be in an advisory position to give them data. They'll look at accident data, they'll look at crash reports, and they'll speak to us and get input from the residents to find out what they should do.
Okay. So maybe we could send some kind of email or some kind of letter to Mrs. Camps to
I'd
say
be
what
happy
we
to meet with
advise.
her. I know we had been going back and forth
Do
with
you
email.
have her phone number?
I have the backup. I'll be happy to reach out to her tomorrow.
Could you reach out to her?
I will, ma'am.
Now, do you advise she also maybe talks to one of the state legislators
She
about
can.
this?
She can, but the best thing to do is I can give her the contact information
Okay.
for the State Traffic Commission. They'll put her on the docket. It's similar to a public meeting. They'll listen to her, they'll give her time to speak, they'll listen to our concerns and the town's concerns, and they'll engage in a traffic study so they have actual real-time data before they do any changes.
I personally think 25 may be a little too low for that road, but
If I can speak,
Yes, ma'am.
my initial reaction was, people are not going to comply with 25. It's Route 177.
Right.
And the setback of everything is very far back. The homes, the businesses, sidewalks, I don't see really anyone's sashaying up I really don't.
They're not
It's a
complying
highway.
to 45, so I don't see how they would comply, well, to 40, I'm sorry.
It would.
Well, they're going,
Yeah. It
they're not
just-
complying to 45 either, quite
There's no
frankly.
secret, and I won't insult anyone's intelligence, that that area of town, given the stretch of town, I could put a police officer there 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And as soon as the police officer is there, like in most areas, everyone slows down, they blink their flash, they blink their headlights, which is great, because everyone slows down until the minute the police officer peels off, and then the speeds exponentially go back up. And also, and I know in her backup, she talked about a residential area. Per state law, a residential area is houses that are less than 300 feet apart. And there are certain areas of 177 that don't comply with a residential or a business area. So, and as I stated on the onset, there are 3 traffic control devices from Fish Road,
Yep.
with the new one there,
Yep.
at Brayton Road, the flashing yellow light at Quintel, and then at the intersection of 81. So you have multiple traffic control devices.
Right.
What we could possibly do, and this is, again, we can talk to the State Traffic Commission because this is their purview, by extending the time or the weight of the light. I mean, it's all based on pressure, that when the cars pull up and then the light activates, but it almost acts as a visual speed bump. But is it going to physically slow vehicles down?
Well, for
No.
that matter, Stafford Road is just, I feel Stafford Road is probably worse. I
Stafford
travel,
Road is worse.
I travel both all the time. And in the morning, Stafford Road, I'm going speed limit, and they're right on my bumper.
The chief complaint that we get in town, of course, is traffic-related issues, and speed is one of them. There's no doubt. And we have officers out there, we get grant money. We were, obviously, due to COVID, we wheeled back a lot of our traffic enforcement, but this year has been exponentially higher. Ironically, I just sent a memo to the administrator today. Since the beginning of the year and since July, DUI arrests are up 251%.
Wow.
So this time last year, we had 21 DUIs. This year, we have 78.
It's because everyone's hanging around at home.
We have
bored,
more officers
right.
out there, we're seeing a definite uptick in activity, so we're out there, for sure, and we're stopping cars, we're ticketing people, given the staffing issues that we have. But I'd be happy to work with Ms.
Thank you.
Camps, so this way we can at least take a look at the problem and get some data.
Because she keeps coming to us, and the message is, it's not us.
I would be happy to meet with her.
Quick question on your last stat. Do you know offhand what it was pre-COVID for the DUIs?
We had 21 last year, so it was 21 last year, it's 78 this year.
Right, but
He's
that
asking
one,
the year before,
pre-COVID,
21.
pre-COVID.
I would have to look
Okay.
at that stat, but I can get you that.
Okay. I just
Probably
wanna
isn't 70.
Make a real
This,
comparison.
For it to go up triple digits
Yeah.
is significant.
Yeah. And on the speed limit, cruise control works wonderful. Really helps keep you at the speed limit.
The best deterrent is yourself.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I hope she's watching this, but you will contact her.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council? Okay. Board of Licensing, Jim Long, Sports Kitchen, LLC, 300 Industrial Way. Approval of liquor license expansion, subject to meeting all legal requirements. Approval of entertainment license expansion, subject to meeting all legal requirements. Jim's not here, but Chris can explain where he wants to expand. Well, when I first looked at this, I had a lot of questions.
So, Mr. Long would like to have some functions within the Longplex complex.
On the first floor.
On the first floor, in the sports kitchen entity within Longplex, being that they're the liquor license holder, would be, from my understanding is, would be leasing the facilities that have these particular functions. So whether it's a cornhole tournament or whatever kind of tournaments they want to have that are adult-related, there would be functions that they would be providing, and they would like to at least expand. The sports kitchen does run the concession stands on the first level as well. They would be expanding to just those areas where those functions would be, not the entire facility, because there are obviously offices and gyms and things of other nature, daycare on all the floors. So this would only be inside where these additional
With
functions
the
would be
events going
for
on.
the sports kitchen,
And then the entertainment license is to have these
to have
events.
those events while he's, correct.
Any questions from the council?
And I don't know if anybody here would know the answer to this, but his application estimates 2,000 average number of attendees, with off-street parking for 300. Is that 300 cars, or is that 300 people?
300 cars.
300
300
cars.
cars. So if you put 4 people in each car, that's 1,200 people. Where's he going to find the parking for the rest?
That's been a long-standing problem with him at the moment. Yeah, that,
And do we know, I know you mentioned cornhole, but
we don't know the particular venues.
I understand that. So 2,000 people is a lot for a cornhole tournament.
It is.
So I'm wondering what other types of events he plans to have there.
Would it be like adult basketball tournaments and things like that, you think?
Yes.
But and he also has here band singing and karaoke.
Downstairs?
He would be moving those from the sports kitchen upstairs
But where downstairs?
in between the courts or
Because
on
there's
a,
a lot of kids down there.
well, I think these events would not have children, but
Well, then, earlier in the year, when we had that big, what did we have?
The police,
Yeah, so, I mean, they had people parked in the grass and everywhere, and I don't think there were 2,000 people there then.
there were people also.
there was.
Ethan, Bill, how many people were there?
Well,
I
wasn't 2,000.
I think maybe during the course of the day, for the hours that he's operating, could be 2,000. I don't think it's all 2,000 between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. It could be 2,000
Throughout the
max
day.
throughout the day, maybe an explanation for that 2,000. So they move in and out. They have their basketball, the parents bring in their kids, that's 4 people in a car. They play for about an hour, then they leave, and then it's the next tournament.
I think I would feel more comfortable if Mr. Long was here to answer some of these questions. I don't know if the rest of you
Because
agree.
he would have a maximum capacity
He
at a
does have a-
time, right?
Yeah, he does, but it's
That's-
high, as I will
It's
tell you. It is-
not
It is high.
2,000, though.
Well, if you're talking about upstairs, the gym, the kids' potty rooms.
Well,
like I-
it also gives me pause and concern for, and I did mention this to him, that these additional events that they would be having from the sports kitchen standpoint, at what point do they require that we have fire protection, police protection? So there are, some venues may not require it, others might. So we would kind of need some guidance as to what he's offering. And there would have to be some advance notice for the clerk's office to know when these
What he
events are going
needs.
to take place.
Yeah, I think, I thought he would be here this evening, so,
I assumed he was going to be here
me
myself.
too.
We need to see,
We
go
need
to
to
the
talk,
building and see it.
well, we need to talk to him too and see what he's planning. So I
Wouldn't
said-
we also need the fire marshal? Because this is pretty much his job to make sure that
Well, the fire marshal has
how
to
many
approve
people are
all
in a
the
building.
events.
He does.
The fire marshal has to approve all the events. Because, Joe, will he have to come for an entertainment license or nothing? No, but I'm saying, not an entertainment, an event license. No. I think we need to talk to him. I don't know if the rest of you agree, and maybe run this by the fire chief and see what he thinks about this. That's a good idea, Donna.
I do know that he's been in touch with the fire marshal,
All right.
and the fire department is somewhat aware of it, but again, same concerns. They don't know what the events are, they don't know the capacities, and again, traffic issues of, parking and,
And 2,000 people drinking in one event, I'm not really.
well,
thrilled
it's,
with. Your DUIs are going up again. I mean, I don't know, he didn't hear me. Oh, yeah, he's smiling. Yeah, so I would like to entertain a motion to table this until our next meeting.
Madam-
And invite,
Madam President, this is an advertised public hearing.
well, then we'll have to,
Are you going to open it and continue the public
oh,
hearing?
okay, I'm sorry, you're right. But we'll have to advertise it again. Do we have,
If you continue it, if you open it and
Yeah, I get what you're
continue the
saying.
public hearing to the next
all right,
regular scheduled
Would it-
meeting.
all right. Yeah, I get you. Anyone in the audience? I am opening this up for public comment. Anyone in the audience would like to comment on this? Okay, so like the town clerk said, I need a motion to continue this item until our next scheduled meeting, which is September 13th.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Would we need to re-advertise this?
No,
No.
because we're continuing it. Joan's right.
Jones keeping us on our
Joan's
toes.
keeping me straight today. I need that once in a while. Not,
I hit mine.
and Travis is just like, yeah. Okay. Non-advertised, Board of Licensing, Patricia Campion, Amicable Congregational Church, 3736 Main Road, approval of special event license for 20th anniversary of the 9/11 Memorial Concert on September 11, 2021, from 3 to 4:30. Is Patricia here? I was trying to figure out who you were on this agenda. Now I know, Patricia. Hello,
Good evening, counselors.
and you're,
I am not Pat Campion.
oh, all right.
It took two of us to take her place.
All right.
Actually, at church, it takes about 4 or 5 to take Pat Campion's place. I'm Leslie Simonson. I'm the clerk of the Amicable Church. This is our Minister of Music, Bob Reiner, and since we're having a concert, we thought both of us should come and
So tell
answer
us a
any
little bit
questions
of,
you have.
is it outdoors? Yes.
Yes, under canvas.
Okay.
And we're hoping to rent, but there's no point applying for a rental license until we have approval for an event. About a 20 by 40 foot canvas tent capacity. And folks will be recruited, asked to volunteer their time and their talent for the music.
Okay.
No alcohol, no smoking, outdoors because COVID-19 is not going to leave us anytime soon. We expect to have as good weather as we had for the recent summer fair and escape Henri and all of his traveling cousins. And be able to have the sides of the tent open as well, just for a lot of air circulation.
Okay.
And those are the provisions made so far in terms of facility. And Vaughn can speak to the musical portion of the
Right, and just the only things not already covered on the application is there will be amplification, but very minor, just enough. This covers basically the area of the parking lot, the north parking lot of the church. So enough amplification to make sure that people seated there can hear, just like solos and duets. There may be a group number at the end, which won't be amplified with a few people joining in. It'll be electronic piano also amplified enough for people to hear it. But we're talking about singers doing a variety of styles of music from classical to folk to music theater. So it's definitely not a rock concert or anything like that.
Any questions from the council?
No, it's from 3 to 4:30, so it's early.
Just one comment. Do yourself a favor when you, after this gets approved, when you go to do the tent, there is a tent permitting process.
Indeed.
So just make sure you follow that.
Yeah, that's a separate thing, yes. Okay. So he's got some paperwork and I've got some paperwork.
Yep, sure you do.
Divided.
And not Patricia.
Yeah. Yeah, Pat has already paid her dues on summer events at Amicable.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion.
You want to so move, do you want to read it?
The motion would be to approve the special event license for 20th anniversary 9/11 Memorial Concert on September 11th, 2021, from 3 p.m. to 4:30 at the Amicable Church, 3736 Main Road.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Counsel Edwards, seconded by Counsel Vieira. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. I hope it's successful.
Very worthy cause.
I
It's
hope
sunny.
you come enjoy it
Yes.
if you're
I think I might.
able to do that. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Harbor Commission. It's a 9-member board, 2-year terms, 3 vacancies, 2 expiring 7/15/2021, and 1 expiring 7/15/2022. So we already interviewed Clint Clemens and Bill Thompson. Is Charles Lawrence here? I thought so. Hi.
Yes,
Mr. Lawrence, how long have you been on the Harbor Commission?
about a decade.
About a decade. And why do you wish to continue?
It's really 2 main reasons. So I've had the leadership role on water quality control, right? And we did that for about 4 or 5 years. No conditions changed in the water or the things that were polluting the water, so we suspended it. About 2 years ago, there are substantially fewer cattle on the borders of Sepauwett Marsh. So, working with URI Watershed Watch, we did that again on a week that rained more than this week, and all the levels were high, and Elizabeth Herron, who's been great with Watershed Watch, said, no, we're not surprised. I said I wasn't surprised, so we'll be doing it again in September. So that's one reason. I want to get that done. I want to keep us on target with water quality. My second reason is my big reason. You've heard from me about climate change. So I have prepared a preliminary plan to delineate the regions in town that will either be flooded or be inaccessible by the fire trucks. As I mentioned, I have seen the fire chief. He agrees 100% that that they need to know and that they'd like to see flood gauges that I've proposed. I'm hoping the infrastructure bill or whatever else comes out of Congress will have monies that allow to do that. I will meet with the Harbor Commission. I'll go back and see the fire chief, go over this preliminary plan, and come back with a report for you. And I welcome the opportunity to come back and go over it with you so that we can all see what it limits. I delineated, if I remember, 13 different regions which are either flooded or inaccessible by the fire vehicles. So those are the 2 reasons that I wish to be reappointed.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Donna, do you have questions?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I just, the sea level and climate changes, did you just take that on, or was it consensus of the group that you should do this?
I have background in climatology. It's part of my research, so I was the natural person. I am deeply concerned about it, and so I asked to do that. I made the logical person given my work in climatology.
Yeah, because looking through the minutes, I didn't see where there was a discussion, where there was a consensus that you would be the point person for that. There wasn't any vote, there wasn't any...
No.
No. So...
Not to my memory, that's correct.
Right.
It's just so obvious, I think, to us all.
Right. The only thing here is that, which is important work.
Excuse me. Pardon me.
Sure.
Showing opportunity.
No
It
problem.
happens to me all the time. I like that ring.
Okay, excuse me.
Right,
Pardon me.
That's okay. So would you be willing to do, we're talking about the harbor master plan, would you be willing to do the extra work or have extra meetings to get this done, and also the ordinances.
Certainly, we need to do that. I agree. I
Yeah.
heard the message. I agree. We need to do
Yeah.
that.
Because that's priority-wise, not that what you're doing is not important, but priority-wise for the town, this really needs to be done.
Yes, I agree.
So, and you gave up the meetings to focus on the sea level.
Yes.
Did you consult with the other members before you did this to give it to the new?
Yes,
the new-
I did discuss it with her. She had volunteered, and certainly Mr. Cox and I had discussed that, making that switch. She agreed.
All
And
right.
she has much more interest than that in me and climate.
All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Certainly.
Anyone else?
I just want to say that I think we're very fortunate to have someone of your background, skills, knowledge, and enthusiasm for the climate control. We hear the words climate control, but until I listened to you, I really didn't have a full understanding of just what that meant for us in our backyards here. So
Right.
I think that we're very fortunate to have you.
Yes. I forward to you, I think you got it, that there is a procedure, and Ms. Cook has brought out that there is an opportunity to do something about limiting CO2 without having to build something here. Right, so I hope that that provides an opportunity that the town will look into.
Anyone else? All right, well, thank you
Thank you.
very much, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you.
Andrew Sundberg. Did I say that right? Yes, I did. Welcome, Mr. Sundberg.
Hello.
How long have you been on the Harbor Commission?
2 years.
2 years. And could you tell us why you'd like to be reappointed?
As a lifelong water sports person, I'm just interested in access to the water. That's the reason why I located in Tiverton, and I think water access is very important to the community, and so I just wanted to do my share to help do that.
Have you enjoyed being on it for the last 2 years?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
COVID's made it a little bit tougher.
Oh, yeah, it's been very difficult
You
right
know,
now.
this harbor management plan has been hampered a lot by our inability to meet.
Donna?
Okay, reviewing the minutes, I noticed your name mentioned as being the point person for getting harbor management plan meetings. There were meetings that you attended. There's no copies of the work for anything that was going forward. I see that one of the pages for aquaculture is changed to in development, and I'm not quite sure when that happened because there wasn't any discussion that I could see about when that was changed or what the meetings were going to be going forward. I have nothing really to look at except a management plan that's been in the works for a while. I also noticed that time after time that there's actually no definitive dates to actually work on it. And I don't know what that's about. Over and over again, aquaculture ordinances, no action. Aquaculture ordinance, no action. Harbor management plan incorporations added to be continued. It goes like that all year from 2020 to 2021. And they ask you to set up meetings, and I never see a coordinated. Am I wrong on that? I was just at a meeting, and there wasn't, once again, no plan for a meeting to take care of the management plan. I'm asking you this because your name came up in the minutes, Mr. Sundberg would handle getting dates and times to meet on that, and I just don't see it. Aquaculture ordinances, guidance information, Harbor Management Plan, this is October 5th. Corporations via Zoom, still a desire to move forward but difficult in this environment. The commission will attempt to review, break into parts, and find a way to discuss sections in order to move the plan forward before holding the required public meetings. Then November 2nd, 2020, aquaculture ordinances. Intent is to include the topic in the harbor management plan. Harbor management plan incorporations added via Zoom and other means. Discussion about the ability to use one of the conferencing systems to work on the documents all can see. Commission members do preliminary work. And Chair Cox will send out some proposed dates for the work. I didn't see any proposed dates. Aquaculture, December 7th, 2020. Plan is to include the harbor management plan updates. Harbor management plan incorporations added dates. Then I found something interesting, June 1st, 2020. This happened to be at a public meeting for the CRMC. And specifically, why we needed some ordinances in the harbor management plan is that questions taken from the public. There was a question, impact on mooring rights in the area after commercial bed is in place. Butel, he used to be the director, he isn't anymore. He said no moorings would be allowed in an area after a farm is approved. So it's very important that we get this harbor management place, and it shows that the town has no vision. And I'm very concerned about that. We're kind of, to use a phrase, caught with our pants down, because all of a sudden we seem to be the area that doesn't have, according to some people, enough aquaculture going on. So I just want the town's needs to be met. I want them to be protected as much as possible. And
Is there,
I know you all work hard, but, you know, you gotta pick dates. The thing is, if you don't have a plan, if you fail to have a plan, then you plan to fail. And I'm sorry, but this is kind of what happened here.
so is this one of your goals?
Since 2013.
Yeah, no. So if you were reappointed, would you make this one of your priorities?
I think the entire commission is at the point of making it a priority. One of the reasons why I get called there was because I agreed to use a personal Zoom account to hold meetings and to essentially set dates where we could meet. And at some point I got stopped because there was some ambiguity as to whether we could legally do that or not. And as that was getting resolved, no action was taken. And so, you know, that's really what I had agreed to do. I'm not the primary mover on the content because I'm a fairly new member and I'm not steeped in the content.
And this has been going on since 2013, which
Yeah,
you would, I don't even
Yeah.
think you lived here in 2013.
But I'm very willing to do my bit to get the harbor plan done. We all agree that it's needed, and we all agree that it's way past time to get it done.
Yeah. So you're willing to do all the extra work and plan the
I am.
meetings?
I am.
Can't ask for any more than that.
I don't expect to be the point person on it, but I expect to
Right.
do what I can to set
No,
up the
I'm
meetings
just
and
going by the
participate.
minutes that said
It's
Mr.
fine.
Sundberg.
It's fine.
That's all I can go by, because I wasn't personally
And by
there.
the way, if you can
So-
find somebody better than me to do that work, feel free, because I want to get it done too. And
It's a lot of
if-
work.
And if a super person comes and sits in the seat who can do a better job, then that person should get the job. So,
Okay.
Any further
think that's
questions
fair.
for Mr. Sundberg? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Madam President, if I may speak.
Not really, Bruce. You're not on the agenda, I'm sorry.
I'm chairman of the harbor.
Yeah, but the agenda item is only to interview these four. I'm sorry, but I'd be breaking open meetings. All right, so there's a couple of problems. Jay, do you want to, well, first of all, the charter states that one of the members of the Harbor Commission has to be a planning board. There is no planning board members on the Harbor Commission. So that's one problem.
When did we always know that?
I guess we did, or we, well, I mean, I think at one point there probably was a planning board member on this. Bruce, you can talk about this.
Peter Core was a member for
Yes,
several
okay,
years.
so Peter Core was. Once he left, we never replaced him with another planning board member.
Yeah,
So, which means we can only fill 2 vacancies with these 4 people. And we have to get a planning board member, or if one of these people want to join the planning board and the Harbor Commission, that would work too. Of course, I'm looking for people to join a lot of commissions. But
Do we
then
have,
there
we
was
have
some-
openings in the planning board?
Yes, of course we do, yes. Now, the next thing Jay will point out,
Okay. I'll try to keep this brief, and this is just to let all of us know where we're at with some of this. So, we have a Chapter 14 in the Tiverton Code of Ordinances, Division 3, Supplement 9 of 2016 addresses the composition, that's in Section 14-62, and the representation, which is Section 14-63 of the Harbor Commission. Additionally, the Town Charter, Section 1008, addresses the same things. Unfortunately, the Charter and Chapter 14 are not in entirely agreement with each other. The Charter calls for 9 people on the commission, Chapter 14 calls for 11. Keeping in mind that the Charter is the senior document. Both are in agreement that there shall be a member of the planning board on the commission. Chapter 14 also calls for a member of the council to be on the commission. The Charter does not. At this time, we have neither appointed to the commission, we don't have either a planning board member or a council member appointed to the commission.
so,
Both the Charter and Chapter 14 define the areas of interest of commission members and seek to achieve a balance of those interests. Additionally, there is an unapproved version of Chapter 14 incorporated within the Harbor Management Plan posted on the Harbor Commission website, which is at odds with both the aforementioned documents. So we have 3 documents posted on a town website that aren't entirely in agreement. So I think at this point, we must look into these discrepancies with a view toward ensuring that we are following the intent and the spirit of the Charter and Chapter 14. This should include an appointment from the planning board and possibly the town council, as well as ensuring an equitable balance of interests within the Harbor Commission that both Chapter 14 and the Charter seek to achieve. And as has been discussed here in detail, the Harbor Management Plan needs to be reviewed, and then the Charter and Chapter 14 must all be brought into alignment with each other. This is going to be a big job.
I did talk to Attorney Marcello today, and I know that he's talked to Travis about it. He advises that we table this appointment right now. What we have to decide, now the Charter outweighs the ordinance, but we have to make them equal. So he's going to look at it, we're going to talk to Chris, and I think at the meeting that we're going to have with Bruce, we need to discuss with Bruce what he thinks. Do we need an 11-member board? But we can't change the Charter. Keep that in mind
Not
without a
easily.
vote. Not easily. So we have to change the ordinance, really, if we want to. But we still have that specific thing that there's not a planning board member there. And both the ordinance and the Charter says that. Donna?
I'm just trying to figure out, in the code book, it's saying 11 members, and then it's saying 9.
In the
That
Charter.
doesn't even,
Well, the Charter's
The Charter
senior
says
and
9.
newer.
Right, but the Charter,
code book still doesn't, it says,
but
and it says a town councilor is supposed
yeah.
to be 9.
And what Mike said is the Charter is the one that we should be going by. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, the Charter is the prevailing document. The code should have been updated. It looks like this code was not updated since 1967, so
Not bad.
whenever, it's been a while. So we definitely need to do that. The only thing I want to point out is you had stated, Jay, that we needed the planning board to appoint someone. I don't read it that way. I don't read the charter that way or this that way. It just says that there needs to be someone representing the planning board. So I think we have every right to decide who that person is, obviously with their agreement.
Well, I think it would be
Yeah.
the same interviews. If any of the planning board members wanted to be on them, that they would apply just like these other members have, and we would choose who would be on it. But at this point, we can't make any decisions until we kind of clear up this mess, which it really is. I think what happened was the ordinance was never, like Mike said, was never updated, but you're gonna notice a lot of that.
And it doesn't look like
Joan's
when
been
they,
noticing it. What's the matter, Mike?
No, so, just so we're clear, in the absence of taking no action at this time, those members who are currently on stay on, correct?
Yes,
Yes,
yes. Yes, and,
unless they decide not to.
but we have to decide really how many vacancies. If you look at this, we have to get a planning board member on there. So we only have 2 vacancies, really, if we're gonna keep the 9, which I think we should.
we have to.
Yeah, but we have to get that ordinance in compliance. All right, so we'll maybe put this on at the end of September. We'll see what we can do.
How long does it take to go through the change in the ordinance? Is it a public hearing?
Yes, it would require a public hearing. It has to be advertised 21 days in advance. So,
But we can still appoint.
Yeah, I would think that's just a matter, pro forma matter, because it has to match at least what the charter says. We can't go past what the charter says.
So I think we can appoint next week, but I think we just need to think about this a little bit. And also, to be fair to everybody, we just interviewed these 2 gentlemen, so I think it's fair that we all go home and decide. But I think there's only 2 vacancies, really. And there is 3, but one is specifically a planning board member. And I'm sure there was a reason for it at the time.
Or one of these candidates who would like to
Oh,
be
one
on
of
the
these candidates could
the planning
certainly
board.
volunteer to
That's
be
another
on the planning board. And then, that also could happen too.
I just
Could,
want,
because we do have planning board.
We do have
Yeah,
vacancies.
we just need to make sure we're following the letter of the law of the charter at least.
right. And the charter does state planning board member. All right, so we'll continue on and we'll more than likely appoint at the next September meeting.
So you want to table it until then?
Do we have to table it? Yeah, I guess we should. All right,
Motion to table any action on Harbor Commission appointments until the September 13th meeting?
have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Newport and Bristol County Convention and Visitors Bureau per Rhode Island General Law 42-1052V. We had one Tiverton representative, which is a 3-year term, there's 1 vacancy. We interviewed the Christines last week, Christine Kloss and Christine Francis. Would anyone like to make a motion to appoint?
Well, can I make a comment quick?
Sure.
When I read Rhode Island General Law 42-105-2B, when we interviewed these 2 candidates, one question that came up was, one was actually not currently employed. But when I read that general law, I didn't find it say you had to be employed. It said you had to be associated with,
Oh, she wasn't
defined
associated.
associated.
We took that as employed the last time.
It isn't.
Well, how would you be?
Okay, then the second applicant, who has a store at Four Corners, how are they associated with the hospitality industry?
Well,
I think because I watched the
Yeah.
hearing, and I think that question came up to one of them, and the response was that Discover Newport, and I didn't look at the statute, has a broad interpretation because tourism, retail helps tourism as well. Retail helps, is hospitality related as
Lump them
well.
all together.
I think, I think that's what was identified anyway.
Because
and
what's
if you
tourism
look at-
without shopping?
And if you look at their website, many of the businesses that they list, it's not coming up for me, are retail-focused businesses as well.
And I didn't make an attempt to determine what the, what the current numbers do.
So I'll ask once again, does anyone like to nominate either one?
Do we need
I
to-
would like to nominate Christine Francis.
I'll second that.
Motion to nominate Christine Francis to the Newport and Bristol County Convention and Visitors Bureau, our Tiverton representative. I have a motion by Council Edwards, second by Council Vieira. Any further discussion?
I didn't hear the name.
Christine Francis.
Okay.
I think that she really represented herself very well. She was a real go-getter. She has already gone out and met people in the community, in the industry. She's had already done something similar in Providence and was very instrumental in setting up some of those processes in Providence and now wants to bring that to Tiverton. She's reached out to the litter committee, Facebook accounts, and I think that she would work really well with, in our town, with the businesses.
Okay. Mike?
Just a note on that, I think it's important, and I appreciate the work that Christine Klaas has done for the past several years, working with Discover Newport. At the same time, I do think it's important that we have someone who is in Tiverton with their business and also lives here to really help promote what we're doing. And I know she's already, Christine Francis is already connected to the Economic Development Commission, which is extremely important. And I think her shop was on Westminster Street, if I remember right, downtown. And she was involved with the Downtown Association, which, if I have the right group, they do a wonderful job of keeping things neat and clean down there. The guys and women in the yellow shirts. So anybody who is associated with that and has a positive association, I appreciate very much.
Okay, so I have a motion in a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Congratulations, Christine Francis. Okay. General business, Councilor Burke, report on beach. Melissa Duval, beach coordinator and summer recreation. Katie Jones, summer recreation coordinator programs. Oh, there's Katie.
Thank you, Madam President. As you know, I'm one of the two liaisons to the Recreation Commission, and Melissa and Katie at the last meeting gave updates over the summer activities, and I felt it was important for the council to hear directly from them as we kind of wrap up things soon. And I know, Katie, you're leaving next week for school?
This week.
This week for school, okay. Where?
University of Vermont.
Vermont. Good school. I wasn't there, but Burlington's a great city. To give us some of the highlights, both positives as well as some of the challenges, because I think it's important for us to hear that, as it may affect how we how the Recreation Commission looks forward to the next season and how we need to help support their efforts as best as possible. So I'll leave it up to the two of you to decide who's going to.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So my name is Melissa Duval. I'm the beach coordinator this year in town. So first, I just want to say our staff this year, if you see any of the kids down there, they're doing an amazing job. We have a great group of kids and adults, but they're going above and beyond. They've had some very difficult customers this year, you could say, and they've just stepped up, and they're wonderful. So if you see them, thank them. That's all I can say about them. Some of the challenges this year, people are just not being nice, I guess you could say. They're giving them a really hard time. Town people don't want to pay the $10. since that's something new, and they're screaming at the kids over, I pay all these taxes, how much do you pay in taxes? Explain to them they don't pay taxes, they're 17 years old.
But with the $10, they also get trash.
Yep, so we tell them that. And then people say they live in town, but they have nothing to prove they live in town, so I explain to them, you can't get a pass, you don't live here. Well, I live with my boyfriend, and I live with this one. I've had pill bottles thrown at me, see, here's my address, and I explain to them I don't accept those. You have to have something that proves you live here. I mean, we've had everything. So we've had a lot of issues with that. Out-of-town people have been very difficult. And a lot of people wanting to come to Grinnell's just for the bathrooms. I don't know what this is, but we're coming off the highways and we just want to use the bathrooms. So can we just run in and use the bathroom? And no, sorry. The only thing we're lenient with sometimes like healthcare workers. They're on the road. There's nowhere to stop these days, because of COVID. So that's been a real issue, and they're screaming at us over it. They will downright scream at us over it. But you're not going to call the police for every little argument over, things like that. Down at Fogland, they like to just drive by you, or they like to lie and say they live down at the cove there. They'll say, I live at such and such an address. And we know most of the people, we don't know everyone. And they'll just make it up. And then once in a while we'll check it and we're like, you don't live there. They're just making stuff up. Some of the other issues were the gatehouse at Fogland. I don't know if this is to bring up to you guys, but it's got to go. That thing needs to be blown up and gone. It's got mice in it. It's got every animal. One of my ladies that works for me, she's an older lady, and I found her on the rock one day. I'm like, Judy, why are you on the rock? She's like, there's all mice in there. I can't go in. It's covered. It's disgusting.
And hornets too?
There's hornets all over it, yes. It's just got to go.
Bob can go build you a new one.
Yes, well, actually, Katie's cousin, Mike, I'm trying to get him to do it for a senior project, build us a gatehouse.
Oh, yeah.
So he's all for it. And then some of the residents that live down at the Cove have asked us about getting a gate for Fogland. One of them wants to pay for it, everything. He wants a gate, but I was like, that's for him to get involved in.
But how would people, visitors get down?
So I guess what they want to do is have a keypad. Well, because they said at night they don't like all these people coming down there.
Beach?
Because they live down there.
At night is what they're talking about. We close Grinnell's at some point.
Right,
But
where we don't close.
We don't close.
Fogland, so people are going down there late at night, and they live down there.
It would be difficult. It'd be difficult to put a gate there.
Right, oh, I agree.
Because people could drive around,
Or go through it.
Right. They're gonna come talk to you guys about it.
Okay.
I'll let him do that.
Yeah, let them do that.
Yeah, so just people, I don't know if it's just the way the world is right now or what it is, but people are very confrontational. And they're being very confrontational with these kids, and they're just doing an excellent job.
It was like that
Canceling it?
last year too.
Was it?
Well, I don't know to this extent, but there was a lot of complaints last year from the kids of people being very obnoxious.
A little
Yeah.
bit more because we're charging money this year, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, they don't
Added
like.
burden.
Well, and I think it's important to be clear, you had mentioned the residents who are giving a hard time about the stickers, but it's also been a lot of non-residents too, who have
Correct.
given a hard time about, paying to come in. I think there was one incident at Grinnell's where several police officers had to come down.
Yes.
After staff intervened, you tried to intervene, and this gentleman had to be.
Yeah, a gentleman came by and told the kids he wasn't paying, using foul language. So I went and approached him, and I normally wouldn't just go up to someone, but I didn't think I would get this response. And he started screaming at me, beach full of people, and just screaming, hollering, shouting. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't even find my phone to call the police. I was so frazzled. So one of the kids called the police, and they came and took care of it, and he was escorted out. But you wouldn't expect that from a grown man. He was 49 years old. You wouldn't expect that response.
Yes.
You're talking to him as an adult, just saying.
Because he doesn't want to pay to go to the beach.
Yes.
Well, everywhere else you pay to.
It cost him a lot more money after the fact, but.
That was quite the beach sticker he paid.
It was, yes. But I mean, you just don't expect that as an adult, going to speak to an adult, you would expect a little bit different. But yeah, it's been.
And so that's not an isolated incident either.
No,
Right.
no. Yeah, they'll lie to you too at Fogland a lot and say, oh, I'm just running something down to my daughter or something. And Judy's the best on the weekends. She's great. She'll just drive after him and say, nope, she tells him the camera works I don't have the camera, which tells them the camera
What's that
works.
tell anybody?
That's all
It
right, they're not
doesn't.
from in town anyways. And she goes, they just took your license plate, the police come in 10 minutes, you either come back and pay, or the police will be down here, and they'll come right back for her. But, I mean, I would never let the kids do that. But yeah, it's been interesting. We say we have 2 more weeks to get through, we'll survive, but I mean, the kids, they've been so professional and so great that I really give them credit.
I'm really sorry this has happened to you. It's uncalled
That's
for.
right.
I know, but it really is uncalled for.
I can deal with the public.
All right.
Katie's turn.
Kate.
So I work with the kids, and they're lovely. We had about 27 of them, which is a lot smaller than past years, but you know, with COVID and everything, and it was a little short notice. But they were all great. We did a couple things that were like really big. Was we did tie-dye day, we did a water day, and the fire trucks came down and like sprayed them, and they were all running around the field, so that was fun. And we did like a little pizza party at the end of the whole session. But we played dodgeball every day, and we did like certain things every day. And the camp kind of runs like we would ask them what they want to do that day, and we would just pick the majority. Whoever picked dodgeball, like if 20 of them were like, let's play dodgeball, we'd do that. Arts and crafts were always opened. One of the issues was that we didn't have a lot of supplies, and if they were really old.
So you need supplies next year.
Yeah, like we had dodgeballs that were covered in tape, like the packaging tape, just so they could kind of stick together and the foam wasn't falling out of them.
We'll take care of that.
Yeah, and, like there was some that we like decided were just too bad that we couldn't have the kids throwing them at each other, because you know they like to play dodgeball.
Yeah.
It's always like a headshot or something, but there was a couple that were like, we can't use these.
And you talked to the recreation committee about that. Okay.
The other big issue was for the water day that we did. Our usual water access would be in the Bacasset like baseball shed, but it's very hard to get into. There's like a huge metal rod that I can't even get off the ground myself, and I have like about 4 other people working for me, like with me, and we can't pick that up. Like I'm the oldest one there. We cannot be able to pick up this metal rod with all of us, and that would be if one of us or 2 of us wasn't watching the kids while doing this. And the lock, we have a key and you have to get up there and unlock it, and it's too tall for any of us to reach. So
Is this the school shed?
It's the one right next to the parking lot,
yes.
correct?
No, the shed all the way at the end. So not towards the school, it's all the way at the end.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, way down at the back,
So-
back end.
So we
It's the
do
baseball
own,
ones.
we
Baseball
do own that.
concessions.
Oh, it's part of our property.
You do?
Yeah, we own, we own.
No, we would have got that fixed for you.
We're gonna get that
I'd have sent
fixed,
Phil
yeah.
right down there,
We
change
don't,
that.
Bacasset?
no, but
It's at the back end
At
of
the
the
back end of
castle.
the ball
back
field.
end,
Look
so
way back,
the
yeah.
ballparks are into the town's
Gonna read me
jurisdiction.
down.
It's really weird the way that is, but yeah, we do own that.
So Chris knows he'll work with Steve.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
get
yeah,
that
that'll get
fixed.
fixed, eh?
Jesus.
I think that was probably put in place because years ago, I know there was a lot of break-ins in that.
Well, it may have been,
shed.
but that, you know, there's
There has to be a way we
there's
can.
still a way to secure things without having to make it so difficult to get. I didn't realize that was an issue at all. I didn't go to that last meeting, so.
Right, right.
Anything else, Katie?
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Good.
Like all the kids were like very nice. We had one incident where a kid like ran away from us, and we had to like physically bring him back to camp because he got, I think, past he like was around this like seating for where the baseball stadium was, and we were all the way on the other side, so we had to like physically bring him back. There was no incidents like that after that, but he runs really frantically, and it was just hard to catch him.
Yeah.
So we like picked him up, we like sat him down on this bench and like just sat him there and like, listen, you can't do this, we're gonna have to speak with your parents. And like I cleared it all with them. I wrote a report, I talked to my superior, and I was like, this is what happened. I wrote it all down, I talked to the parents, they were very cooperative, and they're like, we'll work on this. And
You know, you could bring him down to Melissa's shed. He'll never do that again.
Then she'd leave the other kids alone.
But just call Dad.
Well, Katie, Thank you, I heard you did it really well.
Yeah.
Good job, I
Both of
know.
you,
Yeah, both of you. But thank you, and good luck at the University of Vermont.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
What
for
year are
coming
you in?
tonight.
Greatly appreciate it.
Second year.
Greatly appreciate everything both of you
Yes.
have done this year, and
And
your
thank
staffs.
And you're studying
I don't even know what to say to you.
secondary education.
Yeah. I'm sorry that people have acted like that, but
Yeah, thank you both for coming tonight as well.
I work.
Appreciate it.
I
Thank
work
you.
with people too, I know.
So where are we with
And-
the surveillance at Bogland?
Wait,
Here's Chief. Well, the chief is coming up. Stu was going to be here tonight, and I told him he had to buy me dinner too, but for some reason, he wanted to take his wife out for her birthday.
So, as a matter of fact, Director Rogers just sent me an email today because there's no power to the guard shack. So what we want to do is we want to put a camera on the guard shack because it's kind of a choke point for the beach. With all the problems that they're describing, we'll be able to tell through license plates who's coming and going. There is power on the bathhouses, but that's only going to kind of look at the beach. So we want to be able, so if someone goes down there, they light fires, they do vandalism, whatever, we want to be able to know who's coming and going. So we petitioned National Grid. They're going to drop a poll, but they had to check it with CRMC first. I did speak with Mr. Gilfillan about the complaints that were brought up about the guard shack itself, and I had recommended to him that he speak with Mr. Hoyle to go down there just to see if it's structurally okay, and then a senior project would be a great idea. But we also want to put power in there, so this way we can put the cameras on there.
Yes.
So we're meeting this week with the camera vendor. I hope to have them up. I know it's going to be the end of the season, but as soon as we have them, I would imagine it's going to take a couple weeks, that one and also Town Farm in the recreation areas. So
but
it's in
we
the
still
works.
need that.
Correct, correct. National Grid will put the pole, we're kind of on them, we needed the engineers to go down there, and I know the director just signed off on it today.
There's one other polling we could do.
But it is moving forward.
It is, and it's all going to be connected into, just like Renel's, it'll be connected into the police department 24/7.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Town administrator requests permission to advertise and hire a part-time clerk for the senior center.
So we're all set with that it's going out. That we are losing a part-time clerk at the senior center. So we are squared away with trying to get this off and running.
I'd like to entertain a motion to grant permission to advertise and hire a part-time clerk for the senior center.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Janik, second by Councilor Edwards. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. DPW Director Rogers requests transfer $64,000 from personnel account number 5440-5101 to bulldozer repairs, account 5530-7645. Rick? And one of the questions I had during the agenda meeting was, is this from last year's budget?
It is.
And this is okay with the treasurer?
Did run it by the treasurer, and she did say that this has been a long-standing matter. If the council was to entertain it, she would approve it.
Rick, we know all about your bulldozer problems. So there's further repairs you need.
Yes, and this is the primary dozer, the 963D. It's only 14 years old, so it's the more modern. And my understanding from years ago is we used to replace the dozers every 7 or 10 years. So the oldest one is 21 years old, which is way beyond, and this one is 14 years old. But starting, as you all know, 10 years ago, we were gonna close the dump, So we never purchased a machine. These things go $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. So the $64,000 is a lot of money, but not in comparison to what you get. If you had a 14-year-old car and you were not gonna be able to buy a new one, you wouldn't think anything of spending, if it cost you $25,000, you wouldn't think anything of spending $4,000 to keep it on the road. So although $64,000 is a lot of money, it's not for a machine that does what it has to do. And interestingly enough, at least to me, the 2000 machine, in 2003, we spent $30,000 to repair a 3-year-old machine. And that's in 2003 dollars. So again, $64,000 isn't a lot for what you're getting. And we had the money left over. in fiscal year '21 and 5101, so we're requesting to do the repairs. We have budgeted about $4,000 extra because we're not sure when they take the machine apart if we're going to have other repairs. We pray no, but we never know.
Any questions for Rick?
Can I just?
Yeah.
Just looking at this real quickly, some of the estimates expired, like 8/14, it was only like a week ago. I'm assuming that's not going to affect any of these estimates, right? It's only been a week.
Right. We anticipate that's not going to be an issue.
Some of these estimates expire 31st and some the 14th, not really a big deal.
We've been in contact with the representative, and he knows we've been trying to get it on the docket.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I'd like to entertain a motion to transfer $64,000 from the personnel service account to 55405101 to bulldozer repairs account 5530-7645.
So moved.
Second.
A motion's been made by Council Edwards, seconded by Council Vieira. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Oh, yeah. I thought you finished it.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Councilor Burke, update on casino revenue survey.
So I'm actually going to defer a little bit to the administrator in a second, but we have a survey put together. We've been working with Stu Gilfillan, who is much more adept at this stuff than either of us, and we plan to get it out soon.
So, about $780 later out of my pocket.
Out of your pocket?
Yeah, because I upgraded Stu sent me a promotional thing from Jotform. I signed up for it. It was all set. It was under Stu's name. So, went back, followed the company instructions, did it again, under my name. They put it under Stu's name again. I did it again this morning, under their instructions. This time it's cost me $360, but it was...
Well, we can reimburse you.
So, I'm looking at another process, because this company can't seem to get their act together, and, I trying to get the right thing, and I can't seem to get it. Every time I do it, they're putting it in Stu's account, and I'm like, we need our own account. They know that. So I think we're gonna try SurveyMonkey to do it, but we will get it done. So if I have to buy another product tomorrow,
So we're meeting on the 20th?
Yes, and I wanted to get it out this week, which was, so we're gonna put a link up on our website, we're gonna put it out through social media.
So it'll be on the
So
police, the fire.
Right.
You're
So
gonna send it to
the last piece of it
library.
was trying to make sure that we had, so that people couldn't replicate or duplicate it. So you couldn't answer it 5 times.
Right.
So we would be able to have, be able to identify duplicate, replies. So that's why we needed this particular form to do this, but, so we'll get there.
And we need to reimburse you with the.
Oh, no, I'll get reimbursed, the company's reimbursed me, but it's, it's
Oh, yeah, it's just
7 to 10 days later, and it was, I was gonna ask the town to reimburse me after we got the, we thought we'd be long on our way by now, but
Thank you and Stu for your work on that.
mostly Stu.
And you're stewing over Stu's.
Yeah, well, I'm stewing over the company, but.
All right, and the next item is my discussion regarding council member participation in scheduling future agenda items. I want to remind everybody that Mike Burke, me, Chris, and our attorney meets every Tuesday before our meeting, and we prepare the agenda. And if anyone has any agenda items at all, please get them to Joan. You can actually call her verbally, and she'll put them down, and we'll have you do the paper. I figure now that a year has gone by, a lot of you were new, you didn't really know, like, what you would say your priorities were, or you probably have found things that you want to discuss. I just encourage everybody to think about it. We have a year more to go as a council, and if you do have priorities, or if you run into things as liaisons that you like to bring to us, like some of you already have, I would really appreciate it so that we can get more business on the agenda and move forward. Okay. Now, close executive session. Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 42465A1, Personnel Job Performance Annual Evaluation for DPW Director Richard F. Rogers, notice given. Do I have a motion? I don't know if I can do these
We
together.
do these together? No,
Yeah.
because they're different. They're different. Okay.
Yeah.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
Do I have a second? Motion made by Counselor Burke, second by Counselor Vieira. Counselor Cook? This is roll call. Counselor Janik?
Yes.
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Counselor Burke?
Yes.
Counselor Vieira?
Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion, Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law, 42465A2, closed session, related potential litigation regarding the assessment of the casino property in closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Burke, second by Counselor Edwards. All those in favor, Counselor Cook?
Yes.
Counselor Janik?
Yes.
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Counselor Burke?
Yes.
Counselor Vieira, yes.
Madam President, would you mind taking them out of order so
I
that we
was going
can?
to suggest that because they're looking at me. I'm just going to take a 5-minute recess.